Thank you all for stopping by to check out my video. For those of you that are new to this channel, new to this page, my name is Rola, and I am a mom of 3 and a widow. Been a widow coming to 5 years now. And in this video today, I'm just going to be talking about one of the first time that I didn't feel so lonely as a widow. And I say that I feel so lonely that I was not the only young widow out there. And I'm just going to talk briefly about that. And I remember when it was coming to 2 years, just before coming to 2 years when my husband passed away, I went to a widow, like a widow's seminar, not seminar, dinner, party kind of event. It was an event for widows. So I was invited to this event, and I was just thinking to myself, I didn't really want to go at first, but it was how they dressed up. It was a 2-night event, so I ended up, I only went for 1 day, and on this day, went in there. And the moment I stepped into that room, the room was full of women that are widows. And widows have been some old widows. A lot of them were quite matured widows that were in that room. And one of the young ladies stood out to me there. There were 2 young ladies that stood out to me in that room. And I remember one of the aunties that's been a widow for some years, introducing me to this young lady. Now, the moment I saw this young lady, she looked so young. I could so much relate to her, young black woman that's a widow. And that was something I've been searching for so long, since I became a widow, like someone that looks like me out there that I can relate to, that I can, see myself in, because I felt for so long that I was the only young widow out there, and I just felt quite like, why me? I felt a lot of widows out there were matured widows. I said mature widows in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, but to step into that room, seeing the room full of women that are widows, first of all, I was so emotional that day. I remember very clearly. I was very emotional, like, wow, a room full of women that are widows. There were games and entertainment that were going on that day, that night. And one of the aunties that invited me to this widow conference event, this event has been going on in the UK for, I think, for some years now. So she one of the aunties that invited me now introduced me to this young lady that's a widow. And, she introduced herself. I told her my name, and it was just a different feeling and emotions for me on that day, meeting that young lady. And we kind of just talked very briefly on that day. She gave me we exchanged numbers, and she gave me a very, very, very brief, story of how she lost her husband. And I think at that time when I met her, it has been 4 years for her that she lost her husband, and for me it was just coming to 2 years. And she saw that I was so emotional. I was very tearful during on that day and at that event. She was comforting me and trying to encourage me while the whole ceremony was going on. And there were entertainments on that day. Singing was going on, games were being played. We had like a 3-course meal. It was in a 5-star hotel. Everyone dressed so beautifully. Some widows that have been widows became ex-widows. I still come to that event and just, interact with one another. Some no longer widow, they're just ex-widows because they're remarried and so on and stuff. And I remember that day as well, there was another young lady. She, I think, she was also a young widow as well. They kind of mentioned on that day that she was getting married at that event. And with so many stories being shared and music going on, uplifting gospel music being played, and the different women just talking and just encouraging one another, I was all over the place on that day. I could not stop crying. I could not stop sharing tears. I was all over the place. But it was very comforting for me at the same time, seeing this young lady, because she was in her 30s, and maybe in my 30s when I lost my husband as well, made me feel like, wow, there's someone that looks like me out there, someone I can relate to. And also, she also has 3 children. And from that moment, I didn't feel so alone, being a young widow, if I can put it that way. Yeah, I didn't feel so alone, seeing her, being able to relate with her and talk to her. And yeah, so that's one of the events that happened to me when I didn't feel so lonely, being a widow, finding this young lady. And I remember, I think sometime last year or the year after, same event again happened. This time, it was not just all young widows, female widows that was there. There was some other people that invited to this event. And the same young lady that I mentioned that I saw, myself and her, carried on talking every now and then. We spent hours talking on the phone. She shared her story. She lost her husband in a car crash, and shared my story, and she just encouraged me. And she also has 3 children, similar age to my children as well. But she lost her husband, I think, when she was in her 20s, in the late 20s or something, or early 30s, because I think she's about 3 or 4 years younger than me. But fast forward to a year or two later, another event took place, and to God be the glory. At that event was announced that she would be getting married, and she got married that year. I think it was last year or the year before. I can't remember. But she was announced that she was getting married, and she met another widower that she got married to. But my message really basically was like to say that meeting somebody out there that looked like me, Black, young lady, widow with mother of 3 like myself, being able to share stories, words of encouragement every now and then with one another, kind of gave me comforts, to just say that I'm not the only one out there as a widow, a young Black widow. So for those of you that may be out there, may be feeling quite lonely or thinking you're the only one, just know that you're not. You're not the only young one out there. It's been tough, it's been challenging, but God is faithful to see one through. So that event, attending that event really helped me, encouraged me to let me know I'm not alone. There are other women out there, especially being young like myself. I could see myself in this young lady, myself in her. That really helped me to kind of keep going and encourage me. And I remember when she saw me again at the second widow event, she said to me, I look a lot more better compared to when she saw me 2 years ago, because first time I was literally over the place. But she said she could see that I was coming into my own when she saw me again. And I was just so happy to, we talked about so many things. When I talked to this young lady, we really talked about so many things: the loneliness, the missing the interaction with partners, and how friends will look at you and see you. So conversation I had with her helped me to get along and to move forward and progressed. And she told me the kind of thing she did to kind of help her was, for me, running, exercising, and for her was more of baking. She mentioned to me being creative in the kitchen. She likes to bake, cooking, and also writing. That was what kind of helped her during the time when she feels at her lowest. So I don't know what it is that may help you out there to be able to get along each and every day. But whatever it is that you find doing, just do it. And just know that you're not alone out there. And you have to look after yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, before you can pour into others, before you can pour into your children and to your loved ones, you've got to be okay yourself. So thank you all for watching, and I hope to catch you in my next one. My name is Rola, and like I said, I'm not the first, and I'm not going to be the last video out there. There's been many before me, and there's been many after me. Thank you all for watching. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.